How many of you listening right now believe in telekinesis? Raise my hand. Thank you. I'm excited to have as my special guest today, good friend and extraordinary human being, magician, motivational speaker, the owner of Enchanting Illusions, Kevin Owens, coming up. Now, today is National No Housework Day. Therefore, on the Brain Buster, of the 10 most hated household chores, number 1 was cleaning the bathroom and the toilet. What household chore came in at number 2? Was it A, washing dishes, B, cleaning the oven and stovetop, or C, doing the laundry and ironing? Your answer coming up in minutes. Looking at the podcast planner, nationaldaycalendar.com, as I mentioned, it's National No Housework Day. All regularly scheduled housework resumes tomorrow. It's National Girl Me Too Day, a day that reminds women that they have all carried similar burdens and struggles, and by lifting each other up, they help mend the past and make a better future for children. It's National Burrito Day, a heavy tortilla wrapped around meat, cheese, tomato, rice, beans, veggies, and sauces. Burrito, by the way, means little donkey in Spanish. They think that may stem from the appearance of a bedroll that donkeys carried. By the way, the burrito was introduced here in the United States in the 1930s. It's National Coffee Cake Day, and it's National Beer Day. Following water and tea, beer is the third most popular drink overall. It possibly dates back to 9500 BC when cereal was first farmed. It's recorded in the written history of ancient Iraq and Egypt. I want to get one of those t-shirts that says, "Drinks well with others." And now let the magic begin. Excited to catch up with a good friend. I met Kevin when he was in high school. As a matter of fact, he was a part of our student broadcasting club that was started at WFFV Radio in Middletown. The sponsoring teacher that would bring the kids over to the station on Saturday mornings. We ended up dating and she became my wife. Kevin Owens, one of those graduates of the student broadcasting club, now owner of Enchanting Illusions. Kevin, it is so good to catch up with you.
Oh, always great to catch up with you, my dear friend Barry Lee.
Off the bat here, do you prefer to be called a magician or an illusionist?
Really, I think magician is more accurate. My definition, at least, of illusionist is more when you do the bigger David Copperfield type illusions. It's so funny. I mentioned David Copperfield, and none of the 25 or under crowd knows who that is.
Well, everybody knows Kevin Owens. I don't think there's an event that you have not been to, public and private. Let me just say that from the Student Broadcasting Club, you actually did get into radio.
Yeah. There was a job opening at WFTR, which is now The River 95.3. And I think the only reason I got it, other than, of course, my background with the club, was the fact that I read well. Jim Lawrence, who was the morning guy and program director at the time, and sadly has passed on now, but he had me read something off the teletype machine, which they don't have anymore. And I read well, and I credit my mom with that because she used to read to me every night before I went to bed, and then she'd make me read back to her. And that made me a fairly good reader.
I'll be darned. Then you went on to do a stint with 99.3 The Fox.
Yep, I was at Wifter, as I fondly call it, for 5 years, and then got a gig through Nicky Ciotti. He got me over to Fox, and I was DJing the Ground Round at that time, and I got midday 10 to 2, and I was there for 7 years.
Wow, I forgot how long you were there. Yeah. So when did the magic start to come into play?
There was a magic shop on the Loudon Street Mall. And I strolled in there when I was like 19. And I'd always loved magic, but I never really performed it. I knew like one kind of cool card trick that a friend of my dad's had taught me. And I strolled into this magic shop at 19, and this guy did this amazing trick. He was wearing a short sleeve shirt, nothing in his hand. He took a silk handkerchief, put it in his hand, and then had me wave. And he opened his hand, and there was nothing. And I was blown away. You know, because you always hear the hot it up your sleeve kind of thing. And I thought, man, I got to learn that. And it was like $5 to learn the secret and the little special thing that I needed to make it happen. And I was hooked. And so I was doing radio at that time and DJing parties and stuff. And I just started doing magic tricks. And I was at the Ground Round, for example, and doing some tricks when people would come up for requests and things like that. And Sue Hoover, who's a very dear friend, was the general manager there. And she said, hey, why don't you come in and do that on our kids' night? And I only knew a few tricks. And so people would keep coming back and back, and I had to go out and learn more tricks. And then I started learning from books and reading, because back then, we didn't have YouTube. And then eventually they'd say, do you do kids' birthdays? And I'd never done one. And I said, yeah, sure. And I showed up. I'm sure the first few shows were pretty interesting. I did all close-up magic at this kids' show with like 20 kids. But later I learned how to, become more of a performer, more of an actor in the role of a magician, and learned how to do parlor and stage magic. So.
Yeah, some of those bigger illusions, you came on our cable talk show and pulled off some really cool illusions. I guess there's always that pressure when people say, so what do you do, if they don't know you already, and you say, oh, I do magic, then right away, you've always got to be prepared. They're going to say, oh, show me a trick. Does that get aggravating?
Oh, gosh, no, I love it. I love what I do. But when I go out, I'm kind of a walking billboard. And, I'll just casually talk to people, or people that know me will come up and say, hey, can you do something for my kids? And, what's funny is I never liked the marketing end of it. And I had to learn that, of course. And a friend said, Kev, you got to hand out a business card to everybody. And I was like, oh, man, it just felt so pushy. I thought, well, let's do a magic trick with it. And so I found out a way to pull it out, and I show it empty and blank on both sides, and then they wave their hand over top of it, and sure enough, it's printed by magic. It's a great way to hand out the card. And I have people that come up 10 years later, they'll say, I've still got your card in my wallet. And I'm saying, well, that's great, but why didn't you call me?
And you've performed in so many, many places. And I guess, does it ever get aggravating? How do you answer people when they come up and say, oh, you got to show me how to do that trick?
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? Because today you can pretty much YouTube or Google anything and figure it out. I didn't have that luxury back in the day. You had to dig a little more to figure things out. But it's funny because I'm not as worried about keeping the secrets as maybe some magicians. I remember back when I first started my illusion show where I did some of the bigger David Copperfield type stuff. The Fox special came out, The Mystery Magician, where they gave away magic tricks. And I had just bought this zigzag illusion where the lady gets in and she puts her face through and her fingers through and her toe through, and I divide the middle section with two blades and then slide the middle section over, and there's nothing in the middle, and her head's right there. It's a cool illusion. And the Mystery Magician gave it away, like right when I bought the thing. And I got a good deal. I got it for like $1,000, and they're normally like $2,000 or $3,000. And all my magician buddies were like, well, I'm going to have to scrap that one. And I'm like, I don't think so. And I performed that for 5 years, and it got rave reviews. And I had like one person through the whole thing that knew the secret. And they like kind of winked at me and gave me a thumbs up and said, hey, you did a good job with that. Really, the tricks are tools. It's your presentation. It's the theater. It's the way that you engage the audience. To me, magic was sort of a metaphor that you can create real magic in your life. And that's why when I do it, I let the person wave their hand. I let them do the magic. So they'll say, how do you do it? And I'll say, so you waved your hand. How did you do it?
One person that you did show how to do a trick was Paul McCartney. You got to share that story.
Yeah, that was really pretty awesome. I've always been a Beatles fan, and I got to meet him after one of his concerts, and his lovely wife, Linda, was alive, and I get choked up. She was just amazing. I don't know if you've ever met someone and just immediately you felt like you'd known them forever, and it was like that with her, and she was just wonderful. So I did this trick, which I was just learning at the time. I call it the Tinkerbell Trick now, and I make a red light appear out of nowhere in my hand, and I pass it back and forth, and then I toss it out, and it vanishes. My hand's empty, and it's a great trick. So I'm doing this trick, and McCartney just loved it. And he comes up to me, and he puts his arm around me, and he spins me away from Linda and our group, and he walks away. He goes, you've got to tell me how you did that trick. Oh, my God, it's Paul McCartney. I can't not tell him, So I actually told him, and it requires a gimmick, and I actually gave him the gimmick. I gave him a card, too. Again, he never called me. Like, what is it with these cards? Just a great exchange, and it was very nice. And a few years later, I'm lying on the couch with the wife, and we're watching Wingspan and retrospective of him and his career after the Beatles and with Wings and stuff and on his own. And it was so funny because right before he's ready to go on stage, he had some of his bandmates around, and he's doing the light trick. And I freaked out. I jumped off the couch. And I said, I taught him that, And it was It was really cool, but very fine people. And I've had the honor of performing for quite a few celebrities, and some have not been as nice. You know, Val Kilmer took a little getting used to. I was honored in 2010. I got to headline the Apple Blossom Festival. And Val was the grand marshal, and I was the festival magician. But before it was over, I actually had a conversation with him, and he turned out to be a pretty nice guy. So.
Wow. Well, I mean it. Everybody knows you. You have performed at parades and fairs and private parties. You have literally made thousands and thousands of people happy through the years. And hey, I hope you keep going.
Well, I'm excited, yeah, and things are still really going strong. I mean, the corona apocalypse really, as it hurt everyone, really hurt us. And I mentioned it's really just my wife and I. She does amazing, beautifully drawn face painting. Well, and the dove and the rabbit, they're pretty easy. You know, just birdseed and a few rabbit pellets, a carrot here and there, and we're good. People are really wanting to go out and do things now. So we do the Edinburgh Old Time Festival every year in September. We're there. We'll be at the Shenandoah County Fair. We do that every year. We just picked up the Frederick County Fair, and we're really excited about doing that. Actually, this Saturday, there's a new ice cream place in Winchester on Valley Avenue, right near the Firestone, and it's called the Purple Cow. And we're really jazzed. We'll be there on Saturday between 5 and 8. It's going to be really fun. And then I'm also going to be doing balloon animals. And my wife is going to be doing face painting.
Your wife is Shelley, and just a delightful, delightful person. You guys make a great team. And since we can't hand out business cards on a podcast, let's give an audio business card. How do people contact you?
Well, you know, believe it or not, the best way now is through Facebook. If you look me up under Kevin Lamar Owens, Lamar was my dad's first name and now my middle name. The reason I say that, there's a wrestler named Kevin Owens, and there's a gazillion Facebook things for him. That's the best way. And then Enchanting Illusions of Magician Kevin Owens is my fan page. I also do DJing still, private parties and weddings and stuff. And then I do motivational training experiences. And my certification is with the Disney Institute, actually. And also, if you've heard of a guy named Tony Robbins, I'm certified in a thing that Tony started with called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and better ways to connect with people. So, I promote all three on my page, but I must warn you, every single day I post obnoxiously positive things. If you're really negative and you don't dig positive, you'll throw up before you get past the first day of my post. But hopefully it'll make you feel good. There's no negativity. There's no politics. There's no drama. I really kind of believe in this thing called the law of attraction, and that is when you put something out, you're going to get it, whether you put out good stuff, or bad. If you put out a lot of negativity and you live there, you're going to experience more of that. If you put out more positive, you're going to get more of that. You can't be depressed when you're being grateful. My mom and my dad were both very positive people, and I was really blessed with that. And one of my beliefs is there's always a way. No matter what you're going through, there's always a way. And that has served me so well throughout my life.
Well, you have served this community and so many people, made so many people happy. Kevin Owens, Kevin Lamar Owens. Follow him on Facebook, Enchanting Illusions. Thank you, my friend. God bless you.
Thanks, Barry. God bless you, and God bless everybody out there listening. Quite an honor to be here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's birthday time. Celebrity birthdays. Jackie Chan turned 68, Russell Crowe is 58, and John Oates of Hall & Oates fame is 74. Bad News Bears movie premiered this day, 1976. Another baseball movie, a classic, 1993, The Sandlot. Looking at our local celebrities, Mary Bell, love you, Mary. Happy birthday, Rodney Emmons, Judy Rogers, Zach Wright, John Fox, Meg O'Rourke, Teresa Holliday, Susie Byer, Brandon Darr, Debbie Morgan, Dana Licklider, Tammy Lanham, Tanya Waterman, teacher extraordinaire. Brian says hey, by the way. Frank DeHaven and Jason Brill, to you. On the Brainbuster on National No Housework Day, of the top 10 chores that we hate to do, coming in at number 1 was cleaning the bathroom and the toilet. What came in at number 2? Was it A, washing dishes, B, cleaning up the oven and the stovetop, or C, doing laundry and ironing? The answer is A, washing dishes. Always great to get together with you on the podcast, and let me know when your birthday is. Connect with my email by going to the website breakfastwithbarrylee.com. And on National Beer Day, I close with this. A recent study found that the average person walks about 900 miles a year. Another study found that we drink an average of 22 gallons of beer a year. That means, on average, we get about 41 miles per gallon. Blessings!